Hello, and welcome back to I Have Questions. I'm Alex.
I'm Sam.
And this week we're doing... This had to have been running at cable at some point.
No, this month we do.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is actually the title for this month. It's been on cable. You've probably seen it in passing.
Yeah. One of these, I definitely had seen the entirety of it, but not in one chunk, where I had seen like the beginning, middle, and end all on separate occasions, and just never watched it in one entirety. That's going to be for our third week, and you'll find out then. Yeah. But this week, at least, we're doing Boyhood Trauma.
Yeah, basically. Yay! So we're doing Stand By Me and Sandlot, which Sandlot, God, I've had to have seen that movie at least a dozen times when I was a kid. It came on cable all the time because we had, I don't remember, was it Stars that came on?
I don't know who owns it.
Stand By Me came on, but Disney. It was all, does Disney own Sandlot?
Maybe
it was. Yeah, maybe it was Disney.
Because I think because I had the VHS.
Yes.
Because that VHS case, I remember that case.
I believe it is a Disney movie.
And all the Disney ones had that case.
But we'll talk about that later anyway. But yeah, so in Stand By Me, which I felt bad because everybody always talks about this movie and how they go, I cried and blah, blah, and I was like, I've never seen this movie, at least definitely not in its entirety. I think the only scene that I remembered seeing on TV was the one where he's doing the story.
Oh, okay.
And that's it. But yeah, now I finally got to watch it in its full entirety and understand why people were sad, even though I didn't get very emotional. I was more frustrated. All right, so let's get to it.
Yeah, we'll definitely go into further detail as we go through.
It's young Will Wheaton and Corey Feldman and Jerry O'Connell, which I fucking, wow. It's like, woo, be careful who you make fun of.
So Stand By Me was 1986. I thought it was much earlier than this, actually. I thought it was the 70s, honestly.
I don't know. I mean, I knew it was the 80s because Corey Feldman.
That's fair. Yeah, that's true.
Along with Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah. Kiefer, they're going to be in this month quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, he's at least in the third week. I don't know if he's in this. I don't think he's in the second week at all. Because we got... Well, no. We're not going to spoil that yet.
Yeah, so... Stand By Me was written by... It was a book written by Stephen King called The Body. And
never read it. Honestly, I've actually never read any Stephen King.
Yeah, neither have I.
Salem's Lot is the only book I've actually owned from Stephen King. Actually, no, I own that in Under the Dome, but I never got a chance to read them because then I moved here and I had to sell all my books, unfortunately.
Yeah, so neither of us have actually read any Stephen King books, and
Stephen King's over the years has had enough films made to feel like you can get a general sense of the type of genre and feeling of work he does. That being said, adaptation is always a beast unto itself. Ergo, I'm not sure how this would fit into Stephen King's like sense of storytelling overall.
Sorry. Okay.
So Stand By Me is basically the story of four friends. Gordy, who's basically our POV character, Eddie Duchamp, Chris Chambers, and Verno. Oh, Vern. Okay.
Yeah, and Vern.
And Vern.
Teddy Duchamp.
Yeah, Teddy. Sorry, Teddy. It's like it's funny because I had to write the T in extra because I heard Eddie the first time. But anyway, so it's just them growing up, basically. Everyone's got problems.
In the span of 2 days.
Well, three out of four of them have problems, real problems.
Vern has no problems. Vern's only problem is he's slightly chubby and very stupid.
I'm not sure. I feel like he was probably written down for the sake of the film.
Probably.
To be a voice of doubt, maybe.
Just, but they don't really need him because sometimes they doubt, because sometimes they want to go back, sometimes they don't. It's so weird. They all want to go back at some point anyway.
Yeah, everyone.
It's not just Vern.
Everyone's got different reasons.
Vern's just there to introduce the
body.
Yeah, to be like, you guys want to see a dead body? Because it was... yeah, because I have in my notes, I was like, oh, he should have opened with the body. Because he was like, I gotta tell you something. Then he was just like, you guys should come pretend you're coming to my house, or like go camping, let's go camping or something. And they're like, oh, fuck that, no. And he's just like, you want to see a dead body? And they're like, what? It's like, you should have started with the dead body part. Maybe they would have stopped singing over you and actually listened. So we have 3 kids who are dealing with problems. Gordy's brother just died, and it seems like his brother, his name is Danny, played by
John Cusack.
Yeah, oddly enough, he's the only person who cares about Gordy, and it's sad. It's like that's its own form of abuse, because it's like he's neglected to the point where his mom doesn't talk to him at all, and his dad is a dick to him, only says things in like short and condescending sentences, and basically like Gordy has nightmares that his father is just telling him like it should have been you instead of your brother. So it's like, that's abuse in its own way.
Yeah. Danny's death broke his mom. This is supposed to take place 4 months after that happened.
They're not dealing with it well. And honestly, because I've seen that happen, it's not a total lie. Because like, I've seen when parents favor one child and then that child dies, they still are favoring the dead child. And it's like the child who's, left behind, like, just feels not only the loss of their sibling, but also like, oh, so now it's even more blatant how invisible I am to you.
Yeah.
So, and it sucks because I've seen someone grow up under that, and it's not fun. Eventually, they were able to reconcile, but it was still like, you can still see that damage there.
Teddy's abused, like physically beaten.
Yeah.
He burned part of his ear off.
Well, his dad was insane.
Yeah, basically.
And got committed. But before he was committed, he beat Teddy and then put his ear to the stove.
Yeah.
But Teddy still capes for him. Like, he still defends his dad and still loves his dad, which...
He stormed the beach at Normandy.
Yeah. And he probably... I don't know if they never say if those stories are true or not that he's been telling his child. It could just be him saying insane things, and he could actually have been in the war. Yeah. You never know.
Chris Chambers, who comes from a bad family.
Yeah, his brother is the sidekick of the psycho bully that comes in all Stephen King stories. And his dad is also a bad guy. He's accused of being a thief. But we find out later in a very heartfelt moment that there was a lot more to that story, which I knew there was, because it's like you're coming from a poor family who is looked down upon, and it's just like, he stole the milk money. And it's just like, oh, I wonder why he did that.
Yeah. And Vern is just fat.
Yeah, we don't know anything about Vern's family at all.
Like,
or his life.
I feel like he was written down just as not a point. He's not a POV character, but he was written down
because there was just too much emotion going on in this movie. We needed a kid that had no emotion attached.
I guess.
Because he's the comedic relief.
I guess, but they all spend the same amount of time taking the piss out of each other, like boys, like kids do.
That's true. But Vern is the light. He like lightens things up because it gets serious quite a bit with the other three. Yeah. Gordy's like, he's sad almost all the time, and Teddy's insane.
Yeah. Well, Teddy has a death wish.
He does. So we get kind of a glimpse into that when there's a train coming. They're going to go find this body because Vern hears about it from the bullies who were lifting a car. So they didn't want to tell anyone. So Vern's like, oh, well, we'll just go and find the body. It's really strange because they're like, oh, he got hit by a train. And then they walk the whole train tracks to go find him. Yeah. I'm like, okay, why? Like, this kid got hit by a train and you guys are going to walk along the train tracks. Like, these aren't abandoned train tracks. There are still trains going down this track. So the first time we see the train pass, Teddy is standing in front of it. And he's like,
I'm going to dodge it.
He's like, I'm going to dodge it. And his friends are freaking out because he's standing there and the train gets really close. So, and this is when we see kind of the first glimpse of Chris's kind of self-sacrificing nature, because he runs onto the track and he grabs Teddy and he tries to pull him off the tracks. And then Teddy's like, oh, I don't need a babysitter. And he's just like, well, it's like, I'm still going to be your babysitter. And then we hear about how Chris has saved him multiple times before. Teddy was, there was some story, they don't really say the whole thing, but Teddy got stuck in a tree or was going to jump out of a tree and Chris caught him. But Chris still has nightmares that he didn't catch him. I was like, oh, he's like, am I weird? Like, is something wrong with me? They're like, no. And I'm just saying, no, it means you're worried about your friend. It means you're a good friend.
Yeah, so they continue on this journey. They all, lied and said, it's like, I'm sleeping at his house, I'm sleeping at his house.
Yeah, as kids do.
Yeah.
This is typical thing. We forgot to mention the gun.
Oh, yeah. Was it Chris Chambers nicks his dad's gun to bring with them. And, of course, there's still one in the chamber when Gordy's playing around with it and fires it into the trash can.
Because, these being boys from this is the 60s, right?
This is like the 50s.
The 50s, yeah. Boys in the 50s were like, oh, a gun. Let's, pretend we're shooting it behind some store at some trash cans. And it goes off. And they freak the fuck out. And it's like the first, super serious shock moment we get between Chris and Gordy. And Gordy's like, did you know it was loaded? Why'd you give me a loaded gun? Chris is like, I swear I didn't. I would never have handed it to you if it was loaded. So I was kind of, I kind of mischaracterized Chris in the beginning. Cause when they first cut to him, he has a pack of cigarettes in his sleeve and he's sitting there smoking and gambling. And then he brings the gun and I was just like, oh, Chris is going to be kind of the shitty kid. But it turns out later that he's not the shit kid. He's the best kid of all.
He's kind of, I'd say he's more of the emotional heart or he's
the glue that keeps them together.
Yeah,
honestly.
pretty much.
Then we get introduced to our bullies.
Yeah,
Kiefer Sutherland and his goonies.
Charlie and Billy.
Yeah.
We're not given a really formal introduction. They're just kind of just dickhead randos, but they do have a reputation.
Yeah. So you have Ace, who is the fucking insane one. And then Billy, who's Vern's older brother, and then Gary, who can't keep a fucking secret.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how Vern figures it out because he hears Billy talking about it, and then I believe, yes. So Eyeball is Chris's older brother. Eyeball is the really soft-spoken one with the curl, but he's also really insane. Yeah, he's the one who hangs around with Ace a lot, and they feed off of each other's insanity, it seems.
They're just dicks.
Yeah.
They're dicks in that, rebel without a cause kind of way. It's like, what are you rebelling against? What do you got? It's like...
Yeah, but Ace so they're
sociopaths.
Yeah, Ace is a sociopath. It's like, there's dicks and then there's Ace's character who basically is about to burn Chris's eye out with a cigarette. That's our first introduction to him.
No, it's not. That's new. Oh, yeah, no. No,
Ace took a cigarette to his eye and was like, oh, if you don't... Because they stole Gordy's hat, which he got from his brother. Mm-hmm. And Gordy... And I thought that was he never got it back. No. He never got the hat back.
I do kind of appreciate that in a sense, considering, the vibe this film is going for. Because it's like, you'll get bullied and you'll get shit taken from you. And you may never, ever see it again.
Yeah.
It's a nice world when you get it back. That usually doesn't happen.
Yeah, but Stephen King likes his psycho bullies. It's just it's why can't they just be regular bullies who back down when things get hard?
Yeah.
Just yeah. So yeah, we got the rest of the movie is just them walking, really, and then we find out
it's walking and character building.
Yeah, it's a lot of character building.
Because it's mostly walking and talking.
Yeah.
And that's fair. It's so some of the few scenarios are we need to refill our water jug. So the well at the old junkyard is good.
Yeah.
They're dicking around. Gordy goes to get food. Everyone, and we basically get to see how everyone in town knew him. Even though we're outside of town now.
Yeah.
We even the guy who runs the local convenience store or whatever.
That's super far away.
Yeah. Knew him.
Yeah, knew his brother. He didn't.
Knew his brother.
He's like, oh, you're Danny's little brother.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, that.
Yeah.
Nobody knows really who he is or anything about him because he's like, oh, do you play football? And Gordy's like, no, I don't. So,
yeah,
we get a lot of flashbacks to being basically loved by his brother and not by his parents.
Yeah.
Like,
his brother was his best, like, cheerleader to a degree. Like, it's just like, hey, have you read Gordy's story? It's great.
Yeah. And it kind of sucks because you can tell Danny's like, he's a jock, but he sees sports as a sport, not like, this is going to be my life career.
Yeah.
So when his dad is like, oh, the big game is coming, scouts are coming out, and he's just like, that's cool, but, you know, your other son has done some cool stuff too. And he's like, oh, you know, he has to concentrate for the big game. And Danny's like, it's not that big of a deal. It's just high school football.
Yeah.
And it's just like every scene you see with Gordy and his parents, and you just feel really sad. Because you're just like, Danny is like, oh my God, like, my brother's awesome. He's so great. I love this kid. And he's the only one who feels that way besides Chris. Yeah. You also get, this is also at the junkyard, we find out what happened to Teddy's dad.
Yeah, because Gordy comes back and doesn't see his friends. It turns out they were running for the fence because the old man came back. And he manages to book it, jump the fence, and then just teasing the dog because it's like, oh, it's just a small dog.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a small dog, but it's just a medium-sized dog. It's not as scary as they've been talking it up.
Yeah.
So they just start making fun of it because, you know, boys is just like, oh, we're on the other side of the fence because the dog couldn't jump it on the first jump. So they're like, oh, okay, we're safe now.
Yeah.
Like,
And so apparently the junkyard owner does know everybody. So it's like, I know all your parents. Can't expect a call from your father. It's like, your father's in the loony bin.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm going to call your fathers except for you, Duchamp. So, yeah, well, I mean, because they teased the dog and they teased the guy. So he was just like, came out shots fired and was really, really mean.
Yeah.
Just telling Teddy how his dad was insane and he's going to end up just like him and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, Stephen King writes adults that are just horrible in his stories. And it's, you know, I mean, like, some adults are like that and stuff, but it's just like, when they interact with children, you're just like, wow. It's like, maybe pull back a little bit. Like, all he did was make fun of your dog. Like,
yeah.
And like, he didn't shoot it. They didn't kick your dog or anything. But he was just being an asshole. And then we get our first super emotional moment with Corey. I mean, with Teddy, because he just breaks down. Yeah.
And of course, Chris is there to comfort. Like, Chris is basically the shoulder for everybody for the most part, except for Vern, because he has no character.
He doesn't need a shoulder.
Yeah, but
it's like, give Vern some sausage, he'll be fine.
This culminates in our thing that gets homage in a bunch of other forms of media, running from the train.
Yeah.
So there's a bridge over a body of water. It's like, we'll just walk around. It's like, nuts to that. It'll take too long to go down and come back up again.
Yeah. And then we end up with, as this is kind of a theme through the story, two don't want to do it, two do. Yeah. So, but Gordy tends to be the tiebreaker in a lot of this. Not really to the benefit of the group. Because it's weird because Gordy's kind of doing this as a proof to himself kind of thing, but in the process, it's like, I mean, yeah, things work out, but you didn't really make that many good decisions for this path. Because they almost got killed by a train.
Yep. There's like the running, trying to dodge it, barely make it. And then we finally get a little bit of a small reprieve from all the action.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, it's mostly dialogue driven anyway. And so we do get a drop back, actually, where we go back to Gordy's perspective as an adult, rehashing this as they're camping. And they're just saying that they were talking into the night. And it's like, man, I remember those nights. Like, it was like he's really waxing poetic on the song.
As you do about your memory. You tend to forget the shittiness of life.
And for some reason, the need to reference death of the author randomly. Because it's like Gordy tells his disgusting story. Mm-hmm. It's not bother detailing. It takes too long. And then Teddy, at the end of it, is just like, yeah, but what happens to the main character afterwards? It's like, Gordy's just like, what? Yeah,
because he's like, what happens next? What's the end? And Teddy's like,
that is the end.
Yeah, because Gordy's like, yeah, that's the end of the story. Like, he got his revenge. He's like, but he should go home and shoot his dad. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, Teddy. Just like, got a lot of aggression building up under there. And Vern's just like, did he have to pay to be in the competition? No. All right, it was a great story. It's like, Vern, oh my God, why? Why did you even contribute?
Yeah.
And of course, Chris is like, that was a great story. You're great. And it's just like everything that comes out of Teddy's mouth, you're just like, you need a therapist.
Yeah.
Like, you need help. You need somebody to talk to you and be like, this is not okay. But, and the boys, because it's like, Chris is trying to help, but he's still a kid, so he doesn't know how to handle things. So he just does the boy thing, the 50s boy thing of just, well, we'll just keep joking around and push past it. When it's like, no, someone should sit Teddy down and be like, why do you keep trying to kill yourself? And why do you keep pretending that you're in a war when nothing's happening? Yeah.
So we get a little bit more of them walking around. It's a very, very small amount of storytelling left. Where it's like they're just basically rando talking and making fun of each other as they do. And
then we get Chris's moment. They hear coyotes at night, so they're like, "Okay, we'll do lookouts." I don't know why they gave Teddy the gun.
Why is Teddy first watch?
Teddy should not have had the gun. Like, Teddy's ready to shoot somebody, and then Vern got the gun, and it was kind of a cute moment because every sound he heard, he pointed the gun at. I was like, I hope Chris didn't put any bullets in there while Vern had the gun. And then Chris does his lookout, and he sees that Gordy's having a nightmare, which is the nightmare about his dad telling him that it should have been him. So Chris wakes him up, and they have a talk about Chris stealing the milk money. And he's just like, nobody ever asked me if I actually did it. They just assumed that I did. And I did do it, but I gave the money back immediately because I felt bad about it. However, the lady who he returned the money to never told anyone that he gave the money back, and then bought a skirt. Like, she bought an outfit.
Yeah.
So she used the milk money to buy an outfit, so they just thought that he stole the money because nobody asked him if he did it, and nobody asked him what he did with the money. So nobody knew that he gave the money back. And so he just breaks down because he's like, no one believes that I'm capable of good. And that's actually, I think that's kind of the most heartfelt moment because out of, there's Teddy's crazy and, we've been kind of working through what's been going on with Gordy, but Chris just has this moment because he's the strong one. And has this moment where he just breaks down. He's just like, I can't get away from my reputation. Like, even if I was as smart as you, Gordy, no one would care because they would still think that I'm worth nothing. And it's just like, oh, it hurts.
Chris talks himself down a lot too. Like, they were talking about so what are you doing after this? Basically you need to go to the higher classes and things like that. You need to leave this town behind. I'm probably going to be stuck here, but you've got potential.
Yeah, that's the thing is Chris is always telling Gordy, you're really smart. You have a lot of talent. You need to go. Because Gordy's like, oh, I don't want to. It's like, oh, they of course they curse a lot, which is why I never got to see this movie in its entirety because they either bleeped it out or just cut the whole movie to shreds.
20 minutes.
Yeah. But, yeah, Gordy's like, oh, I don't want to go because that's what pussies do. And he's like, Chris is just like, don't say that. That's your dad saying that. That's your stupid, ignorant dad who only cares about football saying that.
Chris is honestly way too...
he's way too good for this, too.
Yeah.
He's too good for this whole movie.
Yeah, Chris is basically a fucking guy in his late 20s or early or mid 30s.
Yeah, who's experienced the ups and downs already, and it's just I'm ready to help everyone else through this journey kind of thing. And it's cute because he's just like, Gordy, you're really smart. You can go far. You can do this. And then Gordy's like, well, you can do it too. You're smart. He's like, nah, I'm not like you. I'm not smart enough, and nobody believes in me. Nobody trusts me. But we've been seeing throughout the movie, Chris is pretty smart. Yeah. So, and of course we find out later anyway that he still did do it.
Yeah. So they finally reach the spot, and then
they see a dead body for the first time, and Gordy has a realization about death. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. It's it affects all three of them. I hope I think it affected Chris and just being like, I'm just gonna do what I gotta do because I might die.
Yeah.
And then of course we get the bullies that have been teased throughout the whole movie make it to the body pretty much the same time that they do because they have a car.
Yeah. We'll just say we're going fishing.
Yeah.
No one's gonna question it. They play chicken and end up running a car off the road so we can get better characterization of the being assholes.
They play chicken with a very large truck that was carrying lumber. Yeah. So it's like truck could have flipped and they could have killed that man.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's threatening. It's just like, we're taking the body. It's like, no, you're not. And of course, Kiefer Sutherland's character pulls out a knife, it's like, you don't fuck with me with this. And Gordy, of course, has the gun and fires a warning shot into the air.
Gordy's at the end of his
emotional
journey. So he's just like, all right, I'm ready for whatever.
I have some fucking closure, and you're not taking this from me.
And then, of course, Ace is like, oh, are you going to kill all of us? He's like, no, just you. And I'm like, yeah, because the other guys are just stooges.
Yeah.
Really? And who's going to say anything?
Yeah.
It's just like, you tried to come at this kid with a knife, so he shot you.
Yeah.
Which, in the 50s, is a perfectly usable defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And they just leave him there. Make an anonymous call, and nobody gets credit for the body at all.
Yeah. We do get a brief, it's like, aside, just like, so-and-so did this, went off to this.
Yeah. And then we find out that Chris he became a lawyer, and he got stabbed because two men were having a fight.
Yeah.
And he tried to break it up. And it's like, oh, good to the end.
For the negotiator. That's actually our opening part, and it is a bit jarring because it's like, our opening scene is literally just looking at a newspaper with a name, and it's like so-and-so.
But it doesn't say the name. It says attorney stabbed.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't say the name of it, but it's just like, well, it's definitely not Teddy because he's psycho. Yeah. Vern is stupid.
I feel like it's bad in medias. It's not even in medias res. I guess it feels like bad storytelling to drop that, because we actually don't really get like who this person is until like a little bit later after it. And so it's just like you're not creating a stake or something to look forward to, because I also have no investment in this character at all yet.
Well, but it's also the trigger for the memory, because he reads it and he's like, oh, let me think of the best memory that I've had with them. And that's his best memory. He does say at the end of the movie, he's like, those were the best friends I've ever had. And like, that was the best moment. And here's the thing about, because this happens in both movies, where they're like, oh, the best summer ever, or the best thing I've ever had. And she's like, really? That was your peak? 12? Like, that was your peak of, you're writing this when you're married and have like children who are the age that you were. Yeah. And now you're like, yeah, that was the best time ever. Be like, really? 12 was your height? You didn't have any good moments after that?
The line is worse than that.
Meeting your wife? Yeah, he's like... It's like,
I can't say I've ever had friends like that. I mean, Christ, who does? And it's just like...
It's like, I have. Yeah. I've had better friends than I've had at 12.
Yeah.
I have a better friend now than I had at 12.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
That's pretty sad.
So I hope that's not verbatim from the book. Honestly,
it probably is.
I feel like it is.
Like, yeah,
they can see it as a writer already. I'm curious if this is Stephen King's.
Sucks his own dick.
This may have been Coke Face. This may have been Coke Face. But hey, final
it's
thoughts.
Still a good movie. It is a good movie. It's emotional and slow, but not too slow. It felt, it's a short movie, but it felt a little bit slower just because there was really nothing happening except talking the whole time. You're just kind of waiting for the moments where something would happen, some kind of emotional talk or some kind of action or something. But the music's good. It's the 50s.
I feel like this is a book that really shouldn't have been made into a movie. Like, I feel like...
It is. I will say, though, the acting is really good. The kids did an amazing job.
Yeah. That I will give it to it.
But it was kind of the height of Corey's acting career.
I don't think I'll ever watch this again, honestly.
No.
I honestly don't find it emotionally draining, because I find all the characters, like, unbelievable as it is, and I have no point where I can suspend my disbelief as far as, like, the way this is filmed. I cannot suspend my disbelief, because everyone is a caricature or broad. And no, there are people who are portrayed very well with real problems and pathos.
To be fair, Gordy's kind of the realist of them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I can believe Gordy's story because I've seen that happen with parents do that to kids, so it's not so completely unbelievable that he's invisible. The mom, not so much. The dad, I definitely believe.
I can believe that with Chris.
Chris is, I can believe it with Chris too, but Chris is like too good at some points. But he does have his balancing moments where he's just a kid and still kind of but Teddy and Vern are just
Teddy needs
Vern
help.
is kind of useless. Teddy is just crazy.
Vern was most likely written down. That's what I'm pretty sure Vern was written down.
Yeah.
I've never read the book.
And then you have the bullies who are negligible. Aside from Ace, they're very
mustache twirling.
Yeah. They're just too evil. It's Stephen King's, like, they're too much of psychopaths that you're just like, how are you not in jail already? Like, this is a small town. How did you like never pull a knife on somebody who could have kicked your ass or put you in jail? So it is kind of strange, but I just feel like Stephen King's bad guys are always just too unbelievably bad. It's weird. I don't like it. Not that I'm not a big fan of Stephen King. I watched a lot of Stephen King movies as a kid.
Yeah.
Which I shouldn't have had because I have a fear of clowns now for some reason. Also, very long storms.
Okay.
Storm of the Century. Very long movie.
No idea.
But it's because the humans are always so unbelievable in the movie that it's just like, oh, like these aren't real people.
Yeah.
But yeah, the acting is really good. The kids did a really good job. Probably the best acting. I mean, I can't say Will Wheaton is a bad actor. I haven't really seen very much of what else he's in besides Star Trek. Corey Feldman. Yeah, this was the best time of his acting career, to be completely honest.
And River Phoenix.
Jerry O'Connell, I haven't really seen in any not comedy movies as an adult. Like, he's handsome. That's all I really know about him. Yeah. The rest of it, he's just a very comedic character. Yeah, I don't know who River Phoenix is.
Oh, he died coming out of the Studio 54, as I recall.
Oh, shit. Well, yeah. And then besides, Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer Sutherland is Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah. But everybody else,
No. I mean, it's a very dialogue-heavy film for the most part, and I honestly kind of curious, like, why it even got made, because I don't feel like this adaptation probably does the book.
Everybody waxes poetic about this movie. I mean, that's why I was just like, it's kind of one of those movies that everybody talks up. Okay, but now I'm at the point, because now I've watched it and I was like, I've seen a lot of better childhood movies.
So given the era it came out in, this would be baby boomers waxing poetic.
Yeah.
About their own potential childhood.
Yep.
All right.
It's mostly baby boomers who like it.
All right. So that's the review. So we're going to take a brief break then. And we'll come. What else can you say then? It's like, okay. It's made by Rob Reiner. Well, what do you know? And it's an overly generous view of life in the 1950s, but we had our struggles, but we got through.
Yeah, it was a town full of white people.
Yeah.
Lower or middle class white people. Yeah. All right, here we go. So when we come back, we will talk about one of my favorite childhood movies, Sandlot. And we're back. And I don't have my notes in my hand.
Oh, sure.
Now I do. All right, so now we're going to talk about Sandlot.
So
1993.
Yeah.
Huh.
I was 8.
I thought this was in the 80s.
I know, I was 7 because this is past time.
I was 3. What was that laugh? I didn't really know. I don't know why I was looking at my notes because I didn't.
I'll make a funky mix out of it. Anyway, so Sandlot, 1993. They're both coming of age stories. The only difference between them being that
one is fun.
One is fun, and
the other one's sad.
Even though the interludes are like overly saccharine, you at least got a sense of like wonder from the kids and a joy that of trying to recapture or remember a moment.
Yeah, the Sandlot kids are happy and fun, like because it's just like. That I can see, like, oh, it was the most fun I've had. And, actually, he says later on, like, we did this every summer until everybody moved away.
Yeah.
So he doesn't say, like, this was the best time I've ever had. I think he just remembers it the most because a lot of stuff happened that summer. And that was also the first time he had friends. Mm. So we have Scotty Smalls.
Just killing me, Smalls.
This is where your killing me, Smalls comes from. I use that a lot.
We get it twice.
Yeah.
Yet it somehow managed to maintain prescience.
I mean, it got memed pretty early on.
Yeah. Way early on.
Yeah, and so it just became... I know, I used to use... Because I watched this all the time with my cousins, so we use this a lot. You killing me, Smalls. It's a pretty big cast, actually, and quite a few people who were in a lot of things. Dennis Leary is in this. He plays Scotty Smalls' dad, but... Stepdad.
Scotty's first to tell you that his dad died when he was really young. So basically...
He didn't really have a father figure for a while. Yeah. He's very much like... I love his mom, because his mom is just like, go out, play with friends, break some bones, get in trouble. do something that's not in this house.
Stephanie, kill a homeless man.
No, just you can tell she's like, I don't care what you do as long as you make friends.
Yeah,
So it's like I imagine her every time because Scotty. Every time he gets in, like they're like, "Hey, let's go to the Sandlot." Scotty always runs in to be like, "Mom, I'm going out." And I imagine every time his mom is just like doing a little jig, like, "Oh, finally friends."
Thank God.
Yes, I'm so happy.
I'm gonna dig down your stepdad.
Gross. Yeah. So the two main characters who we see the most are Scotty Smalls and Benjamin Franklin Rodriguez. And it's like his mom was ambitious there, but he becomes a baseball legend. But he's kind of the leader of the group. I guess he's a little bit older than everybody else because he's bigger than everybody
he's a little
else.
yeah, he's taller. Well, except for that one glasses kid.
That kid's just tall.
Yeah,
I don't think he's older. He's just tall and lanky.
He still looks young.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a cast of 9.
Yeah, I gave up
9
remembering
kids.
names. In fairness, we do have the IMDb up, so this is probably the only reason I remember half of them. I only remember Porter's name because of
He's Ham. He's Hamilton Porter. And also, this is another thing I like, because usually, like, in a lot of these boyhood movies, the fat kid's kind of the dumb, like, throwaway character, but Ham has a mouth on him. Like, Ham he's the catcher, so he does a lot of shit talking whenever there's a batter up.
So good.
Oh god, because they have this one scene they're playing against, I guess, the official team of the town who kind of suck. And Ham's just talking shit every time. It's like, is that your sister out there? It's like, I think she's out there in Centerville. It's like, there's not. It's like, I date her. Like, what? Shut up, Porter.
So good.
So he's pretty fun. So it's funny because Scott in the beginning, despite the fact that his stepdad is really into baseball, so into baseball, Scotty knows nothing about baseball.
Which seems like
seems odd. When he's doing the recap, he knows a lot about baseball, but we find out later because he becomes a commentator.
Yeah.
And obviously because, baseball kind of changed his life.
Yeah.
But he's like, he doesn't know who Babe Ruth is. And this is actually like, because it's 1962, so Babe Ruth was in the Hall of Fame at this point.
Yeah. And long since dead.
Yeah, and dead, and everything he touched was worth a large amount of money. And also, his stepdad, Bill, has a shit ton of Babe Ruth paraphernalia in his room, so he doesn't know who Babe Ruth is. Well, because they actually refer to him as, like, his nicknames that he has. They never actually say Babe Ruth.
Yeah, but in fairness, he had been in the room before.
Yeah.
Many times.
Well, not really.
He couldn't touch anything, but like
I think it was more. I don't think he ever really went in there because he always, whenever he comes in with a lot of like trepidation, and he kind of stands at the door and just says it. Mm. Like at this moment, Scotty's not really comfortable with his stepdad. He kind of mixes back and forth between calling him Dad and Bill because he doesn't really know which one to use.
Yeah.
Because Bill's not a bad guy. He seems like he works a lot, but he's not negligent. He just doesn't really know how to connect with Scotty because Bill wears clearly a high school ring or a college ring or something on his finger. So he's definitely kind of jock-ish because I don't really know anybody besides jocks who kept those things and wore them past college. So Bill's kind of a jock and Scotty's a nerd and he doesn't really do sports. He has a erector set, which erectors are freaking cool. Don't talk to erectors. Yeah. Like future engineers of America. So he's just a really awkward kid. He can't throw, doesn't know anything.
Embarrasses himself.
Can't catch either.
Gets smacked in the face with it.
Yeah, he ends up with a black eye for the first couple of days of summer.
Yeah.
But he's neighbors with Benjamin or Benny.
They all basically live like within walking distance.
Yeah, they're all pretty close to each other, but Benny kind of takes pity on him, and it's just like, oh, why don't you come hang out with us? Just stand in center field. But because Scotty's like, okay, if I stand in center field, like, nobody's really gonna hit to me because he's actually in left field in the beginning, and he's like, if I stand in left, I can just kind of stand here, be another body that they need for the ninth player. But Benny's like, I'm gonna hit the ball straight to him. You can do it. Like, prove to everybody that it was worth it. And then he just like completely misses the ball. And also the Sandlot is in front of kind of a junkyard. It's really just this guy's backyard. He just has a lot of junk. but it has who the film builds up a lot as the Beast, which is just a dog.
Yeah, giant mastiff.
Yeah, but it's really funny because it's mostly a puppet.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't actually get to see the actual dog until the end of he's an English Mastiff. He's not a not a bull mastiff. He's an English Mastiff, which also throughout the movie it's really funny because when you're a little kid, any big dog is terrifying, but Mastiffs are big old puppies. Like they're not really attack dogs. Yeah. They just drool a lot. It's really cute.
Yeah. So we do get a lot of child myth making throughout it.
Yeah.
We do have that in Stand By Me, but
it's Gordy making a story. But this one is like, this is the legend of the Beast kind of thing.
We get Squints telling it. It's just
it's Squints.
And it's just like, it's great because all the people talking in the flashback are just his voice.
Yeah.
So it's like, I love the art direction in that because it's just like, or the choreography.
If you've ever seen Drunk History, it's basically like that. It's like a very strange voice coming out of these these adults' mouths.
How long? Forever.
Yeah, it was really weird. So the forever thing, that's also a huge meme and something I said a lot during childhood. But it's weird because it's like Squints is trying to make it sound like he's saying it in slow motion, but he just sounds drunk. He's forever. Forever. And it's just like, what? But yeah, they're super adorable for some odd reason. This is the 60s. Because I guess that's the reason why they're kind of the outcast thing, because they have a black kid and Hispanic kid and then a bunch of kids with glasses and then the brothers who just Timmy and Tommy. Tommy who just repeats everything he says. I think it's really cute. I just call them the brothers throughout. I was like the little brother and the big brothers throughout the movie. But yeah,
a lot of it is honestly just like looking back very fondly on the antics I got up to. We keep getting hinted at the main event, which is like, I got us into the biggest pickle of my life.
Here's the thing: I didn't remember how many times he says that throughout the movie.
It's like 4 or 5.
It's a lot, and it sucks. I mean, one, because I know what the pickle is because I've seen the movie 1,000 times, but also it's just like, just fucking tell it. Let the story tell itself. You don't have to keep saying. You could have said it. He could have just said it at the beginning, and then that's it. Yeah. We don't need it again.
Yeah, but the movie is an hour. The movie is an hour and 40 minutes. The instigating event for the biggest pickle of my life, is an hour in. And the last
20 or 30 minutes.
Well, the 20 minutes or 25 minutes of them Rube Goldberging their way.
It's really, I like it. I think it's funny because
it surprisingly doesn't lose pace.
Yeah,
for
the
that
movie's
part,
pretty well paced, and it's funny because it's.
I said that part doesn't lose pace. I don't know about the rest of the film.
I think it does. Well, because I understand it as it was just the kind of building up and building their relationship. Because Smalls goes from somebody who can't play baseball at all, has no connection to any of these people, and he's slowly building the relationship and becoming one of these guys until the point where they're like, all right, we're going to stick together on this thing. So I liked it. And I really liked the pool scene. That's kind of my favorite part of the movie. This is my favorite. Besides, the game where, he's just like, how long you been playing it? Been playing it for years. Really? You're 11. And she's 16. And they get married later. But it's like, I remember I could watch the pool scene forever because it's just so funny.
It's like the age gap between us.
Yeah, basically it's the age gap between us. Ew. No, but it's
I'll babysit you.
Ew. Gross. I got chills from that one. No, but I like the pool scene because it's like, oh man, Squints was like, he's the most memorable moment of his childhood. Probably. He's like, he was walking a little bit taller that day. It's like, and it's so funny because Squints he's like, I can't take it. She's just too beautiful. I can't do it anymore. I can't take it. He walks to the deep end. And just jumps in and sits at the bottom of the pool.
It's like, Squints can't swim.
Yeah, and they're all freaking out. So she sees the friends freaking out. I was like, oh, I gotta save him. I gotta kill him. And then we have a moment where I'm like, oh my god, this could have gone so wrong, but I never questioned it as a kid. Because there's a man who pulls him out of the pool, but the girl gives him mouth to mouth. And I was like, this could have gone so differently.
Yeah, that mustache
and
brush
it's just
against
like, yeah,
it.
it's just like, this could have gone. He's like, this plan might not have worked. But it did. And it's funny because they kicked him out, but then she kind of smiled at him because I guess she was just like, one, this is the most action I've had all day. Two, I gotta give you credit for that. It took some balls. But it was really adorable. My favorite character, of course, is Porter because of his shit talking.
Some good shit
I
talk.
love him.
So yeah, basically the first hour of the film is establishing the relationship between all of them. I think it works a lot better than Stand By Me, where Stand By Me
kind of jump into their relationship
it's like,
and slowly figure out.
and then it's just done through dialogue to show how they interact. But we're in a visual medium.
Yeah.
So Sandlot does a better job of establishing their relationship and how it builds up.
Yeah.
Compared to Stand By Me.
And actually, comparatively, Scotty doesn't talk that much.
No.
Like, not, like, you know, in narrative wise, yes, he does. But it's more of like the interaction of the kids around him and how they accept him after a while. Because you can tell from the memory, Scotty really idolizes Benny. Like, a lot. So a lot of it is focused on Benny and how he keeps the group together and you know, his courage and how awesome he is and stuff. And it's really just remembering these other kids of his childhood. So I think it does a better job in that way of it characterizes the other people around the team. Because yes, there's a lot of kids on the cast, but you get a feel of all of their different personalities, despite the fact that it's a lot of kids. Because it's like you have Benny, who is the oldest, the strongest, the glue that keeps everything together. Porter, who's the shit talker. It's like Squints, who's like, can you believe anything that comes out of his mouth? And then Yeah, who is another shit talker, but it's kind of different because he's a shit talker who doesn't, like, he relents very easily, so it's like it doesn't really take much to make him stop. Ham won't stop talking shit.
It's great.
Ever, but He'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. And then you have Kenny, who's the pitcher. Is, you know, token black, basically.
Thanks, Darky.
Yeah.
Well, I'm surprised we got a Hispanic character already.
Yeah, well, Benny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a 93, so it's like, I mean, not surprised in that regard, but in the setting.
Bertram, who is he's the nerd who calls everybody else the nerd.
Yeah.
Because Bertram has he has the big glasses with the wire frames, but he's somehow gets to, like, I just remember he's the kid who brought the tobacco.
Yeah, so where'd you get the snuff from?
Yeah. And then you have Timmy and Tommy, who, like, Tommy repeats. He's the baby brother who just repeats everything that Timmy says. And it's really cute. I like the brothers. They're adorable.
So after the first hour of, like, just build up to, like, their relationship and all that.
Oh yeah, and then the vomit scene. Because Bertram's like, I got chewing tobacco. And this is when you're just like, these guys really idolize baseball players, but I don't think they really understand what chewing tobacco is.
Yeah. Nauseous vomit.
Yeah, they get on a ride as they're chewing tobacco, and you're just like, oh, good job, guys. That was a smart idea.
Yeah. So our inciting incident is the Benny hits a ball and cracks the stitching on it. And they're like, this is an omen. We're going to have a good time. Yeah, but we don't have a ball now. It's like, I got a ball.
Yeah, it's because like, I got a ball. We'll get one.
I got a ball. Goes back, takes the Babe Ruth ball.
Yeah, it takes the Babe Ruth ball that Bill has on a
stand. Among other important things.
Yes, under his picture signed photo of Babe Ruth. Yeah. And it was just like, come on, you had to know that was worth something. It's signed. It doesn't matter who by.
Yeah.
He thought it was a woman who signed it.
Yeah. Something like Baby Ruth.
Yeah, he's like, some Ruth lady, Babe Ruth. And they're all like, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my God.
He's like, the Big Bambino? He's like, oh, they're the same person. I'm sorry, that's one of my favorite lines. They're the same guy. They're like, oh my god, he never found out who the Great Bambino. They've been playing all summer. He never found out who the Great Bambino was.
You think you would have just asked Bill?
Yeah, he could have just asked Bill.
Well,
but he never really did because Bill wasn't really around for that.
Well, he went
on business trips and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it was the same day, I think, that he left for business.
Yeah, he literally left that morning.
Yeah.
And then they went out to go play, and he's like, I got the ball.
Yeah, so...
And then they hit the ball over the fence, which is, they all disappear because the beast eats them. It's like, he's a dog, and you're hitting balls over the fence. He's just playing with them. Yeah. It's like, he's doing what any dog does when a ball comes from the sky. He's like, playtime! And he probably buries him.
The puppy gets bigger and bigger every time.
Yeah, it's so weird. So they're going to get the ball, and of course...
40 minutes of Rube Goldberg.
Yeah, because it starts out like first they get a pot, and then like okay, we're gonna go get a pot, and then
it's a stick with a pot.
Yeah,
on
first they get a stick, and they're gonna get we're gonna get it with stick, and then the dog's paw comes and every time the dog destroys whatever they put over the fence, which I'm just like, I don't know if this is their imagination or not. I don't think any dog could actually do that.
Are you bending steel?
Yeah. So they get that, then they get the stick, then they get the vacuum.
Where did you get that many?
Oh yeah,
tubes?
no. Oh yeah, we forgot. And then they gets
it's like Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible over. He actually grabs the ball, and we're just like, okay, all you have to do is throw it over your head. But he's like, no, I'm just gonna carry it out instead of throw it. So he drops the ball, of course. And then we get the erector set, and then that gets destroyed
with a catapult on it this time. It's like, okay, good, smart.
And then the dog eats it as it catapults in the air. Yeah. And that's the first time. No, actually, no, that's the puppet too.
Yeah, it's still the puppet.
It's still the puppet. Like we got a glimpse of the actual dog when went over the fence.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was like a puppet who the hand was a different size every time. The paw was a different size every time, and it's so obviously a puppet too that it's just like I don't know if they're imagining this or not.
So Benny goes on a spirit quest. Oh wait, no, Benny
he has a dream.
Yeah.
About Babe Ruth being like, just go over there and get it.
Yeah. Scotty has a dream also, but his dream was about being pounded into the ground by a baseball with a railroad spike, which is fair. But it's like, thankfully Benny had a more useful dream that night. And Benny's dream is we actually get a cutscene for it. And it's like Benny actually dreaming up the Babe Ruth, like giving advice.
Played by Art LaFleur.
Get your...
Who just plays himself dressed as Babe Ruth.
Yeah. So... I was like, I gotta do this. This is my moment. It's like, it's
so
just
he puts on the shoes that look suspiciously like Converse.
PF Flyers?
Yeah, PF Flyers that look they're like, they're supposed to make you run faster and jump higher. And I was like, they look like Converse.
It's Chucks, man.
They're just Chucks. They're not going to do anything for you.
Are they just as uncomfortable?
Yeah. So he just jumps over the fence and takes it from the dog. And then we actually get to see what the real dog looks like. And he's an adorable, like, adult-sized English Mastiff.
Very drooly.
So drooly. So adorable. So freaking. And it's so funny because he said, you can see from the dog's expression when Benny gets in the yard, he's like, playtime. He's like, he's come to play. We got to touch the ball. Ooh, let's race for it. And then they end up kind of running around the very small town of San Fernando Valley. Because it's like, first of all, Ham is quite a portly child. And if he made it around that town without like seizing up at the end, it's not a big town.
The shirt should have been like a shade darker from like sweat.
Yeah. They were all gross.
Yeah.
But they they run around the town, they finally make it back, and the fence falls on the dog. And I guess Scotty has this moment of just like, it's just a dog.
Yeah.
Because the fence falls on him and he's just kind of like laying there, like whining as adorable dogs, and he, turns on the cuteness factor. So and then they lift the fence up, and the dog's perfectly fine. Yeah. he's a mastiff. They're made of tougher stuff. And then he comes and licks his face, and they're like, oh, he was just a dog who was just playing with all the balls. Because of course the dog then goes pulls them to his collection of balls. And they're like, we could just play forever. And I was like, you could have played forever. Yeah. So then they finally knock on the door, which was Scotty's idea in the first place. Scotty was like, we just knock on the door and go get the ball.
Squint brings it up later at one point.
No, Squints is the one who was just like, no, we can't do that. Old Man Myrtle is like, he's the one who raised the beast. Like, he's gonna kill you if you do it. So of course, when the owner, James Earl Jones comes to he's an old black blind man. He comes to the door, and he's like, "You could have just knocked on the door. I would have got it for you." And they all beat the shit out of Squints.
I told you, man. I could have done
this. Like, I didn't know. We got the ball anyway. It doesn't matter. It was like, you could have got the ball before it got ruined by a dog, though. So then they find out that the old guy who owns the place used to be a baseball player. I guess, well, at this point, he would have played for the Negro League, because that would have been because Babe Ruth was in 1940, 1930. So yeah, he would have been in the Negro League. He said he met Babe Ruth because he called him George. He's like, yeah, George. And he gave him not only was the ball signed by Babe Ruth, it was signed by all of the Yankees at that time. So it was actually worth more. And he's like, yeah, I'll trade you. And they're like, are you sure? It's really expensive. And he's like, I got a bunch of this junk. Because he has a bunch of old signed paraphernalia from the time that he played baseball. And he's like, I got plenty of it. And also, your dad's probably going to kill you when you get home. And he's like, also, he probably heard the commotion that those guys were making. He couldn't see it, obviously, because he's blind. But he's like, these guys seem to be working pretty hard for the last couple days trying to get this ball back. And also, they brought back his dog, who had jumped the fence. Like, he's an old blind man. He wouldn't have been able to find the dog if the dog didn't come back. So he's like, yeah, just come over and talk to me every once in a while, and we'll call it fair. And then the dog became the mascot. Hercules. His name was Hercules. And it's just a really cute kind of feel-good ending for it. You know,
super feel-good. We also get our similar ending where we talk about like where they are now.
But I think it was done a little bit better because as he's telling what happened to them, because he said they grew up and moved away one by one. So he's showing them all disappearing as they're throwing the ball around. Because so Benny hit the ball out and went out to outfield, and then they all kind of did a roundabout with the ball, and it showed them disappearing as he's telling the story of them. And they just kind of, some of them you're just like, they had a kind of a questionable future, but for the most part, they just got older and did their own thing. And Scotty and Benny just ended up kind of staying together for the most part, because Scotty said he left last. And Benny ended up becoming a professional baseball player for the Dodgers. It's a really cute story. And he's like, Hercules lived till like 127 in dog years. It's just like, because he's a big old dog who doesn't really do anything. I thought it was nice. Yeah. I like it.
Final thoughts?
I love this movie. I do. Alex doesn't like it as much, but I like it. It's cute. It's feel good. It has a lot of funny moments, and it's very like, kid contraption-y kind of esque. Like they're just like getting in and out of trouble.
This was my favorite part of Goonies, was like data building random shit. So I do appreciate the Rube Goldberg shit in the end, but.
At least this one makes sense because they kind of build it up because he has an erector set. Yeah. And he builds, instead of making friends, he builds machines all day. So at least this doesn't come out of nowhere. Yeah. So we do get a bit of good like in Home Alone.
showing and telling on a few things on there. Stand By Me, like having Stand By Me
is mostly telling.
Yeah. Yeah, having Stand By Me as a comparison, yeah. Stand By Me is just way too much telling. And we do get a better sense of character development because we get to see them. We spend the first hour of the film, and I'm not bored with the first hour.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Alex was talking about, the first hour is like, but it wasn't like it was nothing happening. There was a lot happening throughout the summer.
It's maybe like paced awkwardly, but I still wasn't bored with it. Like it still does a good job of kind of creating these vignettes. I do feel like they're paced a little bit odd, but other than that, I'm not super bored with the first hour. Just felt like it could have been handled differently. That being said, it's just like it still does a better. It gives you a better sense of the characters than Stand By Me does. In my opinion.
I mean, this is still the continuation of the kind of baby boomers talking about how great their childhood was, kind of thing, and how nothing ever measures up to it. It's like being an adult is pretty cool. I mean, Benny's a professional baseball player, and you're a professional commentator, so it can't be that bad.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is less meta in that regard,
and it's also it feels like that's That's probably the time of his life where he had the most friends.
Yeah.
So that makes more sense than the Stand By Me being like, oh, it was the best summer and the best friends I've ever had. Like, yeah, you got more of a sense of tightness with the Sandlot friends because it's like, you know, they did go through quite a trial together, and it was also because we got more of the build up, we kind of understood why they were so tight. You know, because these guys played baseball every day, no matter what. And when they weren't playing baseball, they were still hanging out together. And you also, the moment for 4th of July, I really like that scene.
It's brief, but it's a good...
the only time they can play at night is during 4th of July because there's no lights on the field. So this is the only time they can be like, oh, well, we feel like professionals because we're playing on a lit field at night.
Because of a shitload of fireworks.
But the problem is they get so distracted by the fireworks. And it's a really cute moment because, of course, Benny, because he's always hitting in every scene. Benny's going around the bases, and Benny's the only one really focused on playing baseball, but they're all just marveling at the fireworks, and it's in slow motion, and it's really well done.
It's also good for passage of time because, I mean, you know, it's July.
Yeah, it's halfway through the summer. Yeah. So yeah, by that time you understand they're pretty tight.
I would watch this again over Stand By Me.
Yeah. I have watched this many times.
I don't like the pacing, like for the most part, but it's still, I think, more coherently paced than Stand By Me is, and where it's like expects you to. Don't get me wrong, Stand By Me has great moments of pathos in it, really good moments of pathos, but god damn, is it kind of a slog to get through.
Yeah, and I think also it's like Stand By Me was shorter, but it felt longer. And this movie was longer, but it didn't feel that long. Because, like, there was never really a moment where I felt the need to check the time left. I think you checked it, but it didn't really matter. Because I think you just wanted to know when the conflict happened.
Yeah.
But it was like, I just kind of, it was more of a fun ride.
Yeah. It was definitely more enjoyable throughout.
Yeah, so it's just like, I didn't care too much about the pacing because I just enjoyed it the whole way through. And I didn't care about the timing because I was like, it's a fun movie to watch. And, you know, it's not that kind of movie like, oh, every time you watch it, you see something new. No, it's still the same thing. But you still laugh at the jokes.
Yeah.
You know, you still laugh at Ham. You still laugh at Squints. Yeah. And, you know, you still think it's hilarious when the dog owner just says, you could have just come and knock on the door. You didn't have to go through all this. Because, that's kind of the thing, though. Because kids really build shit up to the point it's just like, you could have just bypassed all that if you had not, like, but, you know, kid logic is like, okay, there's no way we're going to get this ball unless we, like, build these contraptions to get it. It's because we've been, you know, building up this dog to be this bear of an animal, and then this old man to be, like, you know, he raised this murderer of a dog, so we can't ask him. And it was cute.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it's not to say that, like, oh no, everything has to be happy. It's like, there are plenty of good
sad moments.
Sad movies with kids getting shit on in their lives. Stand By Me, I just don't feel like makes it all the way.
It's just because half of the characters are so unrealistic.
Yeah. Because, like, there are some great relatable moments in there. A kid coming into terms with his brother's death and having to see the body of somebody he didn't know whose death has affected others, even though he doesn't know him personally.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets to see that type of over-connection. The friend who is mischaracterized because the town is against him, essentially, unintentionally because of his family. The kid who has an abusive father, and then the fat kid.
Yeah. It's like, what?
So, yeah.
He's like, yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's just, at least in Sandlot, like, these kids have stories.
Every kid has a story. If not a story, then at least...
Every kid seems kind of like it would be a real kid.
No. It has a personality, at least.
Yeah.
So that's it for this week. We're doing double feature this time, so we're not doing a third movie.
Take some of the pressure off of watching all these movies.
And editing.
Yeah.
For me. But next week, we're going to be doing Howdy Neighbor. Well, I guess not Howdy Neighbor.
Yeah, we had this Howdy Neighbor.
Okay, Howdy Neighbor.
Because we're watching Coneheads and...
Meet the Applegates.
I don't know why this movie is stuck in my head, but we gotta watch it now.
I've seen the Coneheads, I think, more than I have seen Meet the Applegates,
definitely.
but I think I remember being more endeared to Meet the Applegates.
Really?
Yeah.
Well...
I like insects.
Well, okay. Insects, like bugs.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what you said.
Did you think I said?
It sounded like you said I like incest.
This bitch.
Ow!
Yeah.
Oh.
So Meet the Neighbors will be next week on there, and we're just going to do it as a double bill as well. So till then, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever the hell you may be. Take care.
Goodbye.